Today at a news conference in downtown Leland, Mississippi Commissioner of Public Safety Sean Tindall says they still need info and are happy to lock up additional people responsible.
Law enforcement will work tirelessly to hold you accountable, to find you a cell that you can spend the rest of your life in.
Someone threatened to blow up City Hall in Greenville Thursday, says Mayor Eric Simmons. He says someone at City Hall got that threat over the phone, and then the person actually showed up. Police were there and arrested that person, and they believe that was the end of the threat. A life sentence for a Jackson man convicted this week of molesting a 7-year-old girl back in 2021. The girl's mom found her boyfriend, 39-year-old Jimmy Owens, in a sex act with a girl in her bedroom at their house on Abraham Lincoln Drive and was able to give police video evidence. More news in 1 hour on 103.9 WIAB. I'm Chris Davis.
The views and opinions expressed in this program are the individual views and opinions of the people expressing them and do not necessarily reflect those of this radio station, its parent, affiliated, or related entities, agents, or employees.
Come together right now over me.
And it is the Lindsey Beckham Show. I am Chuck Matthews filling in for your lunch day entertainment. Yes, sir. It's been a full day for me today. I can tell you that. I've been here since 5 a.m. But anyway, we're here. We're good. If you got something on your mind, give us a call. 1-601-879-0003. You know the number. Give us a call. Let's talk about things. And let's see what's going on here. Y'all know there's a No Kings holiday protest tomorrow. So I'm on the air, and if you're on Facebook looking at the thing, you see me and the King up there. He has got him. He's running the checkout there at McDonald's right there for us right now. But anyway, it's going to be a great day. It's going to be a wonderful day. But tomorrow, the No Kings thing's going on. I'm trying to find what someone had posted about that, but it'll be going on in good old downtown Jackson on a Saturday in football season. That's the equivalent of throwing a wedding on one of the many days of the week that we have that absolutely nothing goes on. Downtown Jackson is nothing on the weekends. I mean, it is absolutely nobody down there, especially in the daytime. So it'll be safe. It'll be safe. And if you do want to go down there and be a part of that, and you are on the correct side of the law, meaning that you're against what they're doing, you're allowed to go down there and protest. But, it's really not necessary. I mean, they're saying they're expecting 1,000 people down there. Well, unless they pay them or bring them in, that's the only way they'll have it. That's the only way they have it. This No Kings holiday is the stupidest thing in the world. It is, because we don't have kings in America. Now, he may be your daddy. Why don't you say no daddy contest? We can get a lot of people in downtown Jackson for no daddy, but Trump is your daddy. Trump is your daddy, and he's taking care of you all over America. And don't you forget it. And right here in Mississippi, he is with us too. And remember, and it's going to have to happen because things are just out of hand here. And then mostly in the Benny Thompson district, but it's because Benny Thompson has everything from the state line of Tennessee all the way to Louisiana. Everything on the west side of I-55 is the barren wasteland known as the Benny Thompson district. Then also inside that district is the many people who live on government aid, which is what his goal was when he became a politician. And he was a member of that organization. They started up in the north in like Detroit, and then they moved down, or Chicago, and then they moved down to their main headquarters to be at Bolton, Mississippi. Isn't that crazy? That's crazy. And we're going to start the new Republic of Africa. That's insane. It's insane to think that. And then the fact that we allow this to go on, an American government run by a guy who says he does not want to be a part of America and constantly has gotten into Congress and been able to live there, and I mean lived there for years, and allegedly be from the conservative state of Mississippi. But his days are numbered now, because when we redraw these district lines after this Supreme Court comes in, and if it comes back in our favor, that's that. And it's going to come back and I'll say, you cannot draw political lines based on race. Do y'all understand that? Do you understand the points of that? Do you understand that civil rights are technically illegal by law? Because all men are created equal. So the United States should not have been allowed to create a law to tell you something different than what you already knew. All people were created equal, except for those that apply under civil rights. And that was a set of laws set up to take the black community and say, okay, y'all calm down. Everything will be fine. This is what we'll do. That's what they did. And that is the most insane thing in the world, to think that we ever allowed that to happen in America. And the Democrats, Lyndon Johnson signed that in. It's a Democratic bill. It's a Democratic bill that took away the business districts, the thriving business districts of the black community that were prior to the Civil War. And I mean prior to the civil rights thing. And then if you look at it also, think about like when they burned Watts and all of that and all the things every time something happens, the Democrats just burn what they already own. They destroy their own neighborhoods. They destroy each other every weekend here in Jackson. Shoot. We've got to stop all this. And they want to do gun control in Mississippi, saying if we control the guns, we can control the crime. That is not true. If we all had a gun on our side and we walked the streets of Jackson and everybody was in fear that they might get shot, I'm talking about the thugs and the crooks and the criminals. It's like if you had a gun on you, if we all went to Old West, I don't know if I could wear the cowboy hat. Andy Gibson can wear that. But if you had your gun, 6 shooters on every day when you walked out and you went wherever you went, and, the rule was when you're threatened, take care of it. But when you're not threatened, it's in your holster. It's on your side. It's ready there. They know you're ready. They'll be ready. So then you don't worry about things. You can walk around and do what you want. And the fact that like this weekend, we got all these people, all these homecomings this weekend that they've canceled plans or this, that, and the other, or parades or this across the state in different places. That's fear. You don't need to live in fear. Living in fear is the wrong place, because next week will be another week for football. And the next week will be another week for football. We love our football in the South, so we cannot give in to fear every time somebody jumps. It's got to stop. It's got to stop. And then if the local governments can help us at all, then they need to help us. And if they can't help us and keep us safe, then we need to do exactly what Donald Trump did and bring in the National Guard. Because if you don't want to carry a gun, they will carry a gun for you. And that's one thing about the military, is they're there to fight and make it safe for us. And so in Memphis now, if you're going up to the Memphis State football game, or Memphis football game, they don't like to be called Memphis State because they want to be more like Ole Miss than that other school in Mississippi. But University of Memphis instead of Memphis State. But I always called them Memphis State. And they're doing well in football. But downtown around the stadium where they will be at the Liberty Bowl, it will be safe because Trump is in town. And, you've got people walking the streets of Washington, D.C., And even in Memphis, people that wouldn't have wore a red MAGA hat before, wearing it and thanking Trump for making their town safe. When was the last time people picked cotton for free? No one picked cotton for free. No. Somebody said slavery. I said, no, it's not that. It's you never pick cotton for free. You got paid, you worked. It's no different when you were working on a plantation back in the day, you got fed. You got everything that the government currently hands to you. You got a check. You didn't get a check, but you got fed, you got clothed, you had a place to live. You know, nothing's free. And then all you've done is turn around and become Benny Thompson's slave and wait on his checks. And he's going to get you a check. And then when the government decided we're going to control the money a little bit better up there in Washington, D.C., rather than write checks we can't cash, everybody gets mad. They get mad because you try to stay within your budget. And that's what you got to do. And like if you had a big plantation back in the day, if you want to say something like that, and you couldn't take care of the people on your plantation, well, the situation was you're going to have to close. You're going to have to go out of business. Someone was offended of a picture of our Canton cotton. Yes, I had somebody walk into my restaurant and 5 years ago in Canton at the Tomahawk, and was offended that I had a sprig of cotton up there on a mirror. So from now on, like even at Acme Pizza, I have a sprig of cotton up there on top of it just because somebody said it was racist. And when you put on your cotton T-shirt and you put on your clothes that feel good to you in natural fibers, I hope you're wearing cotton. Cotton's king. And that's and tomorrow's No King's Day. But the king is in charge, and his name is Donald Trump, and he's not a king, but that's what's going on. I'm about to get cussed out by somebody probably. Let's go to the phone and see what's going on. Good morning, WYAB. Hello.
Hello, I was calling in to the show.
Yeah, go right ahead.
Are you still talking live?
Yes, I'm on. You're talking live too.
Oh, great, excellent. I noticed a couple of moments ago you were saying that that there's no difference between what the government has now versus what slavery was. Did I hear your point correctly?
Well, I was implying that as far as your needs, I'm talking about when you look at the Benny Thompson district. Okay, he has put you and put the people of that district. There is no industry. There's nothing there to support these people. All we do is we give them what we're going to give them. We give them a check. We give them housing, Section 8 housing. We give them health care. That's no different than slavery. Would you say?
Well, I would imagine that there's some pretty big differences. For example, people not being able to move freely when they wanted to, and people not being allowed to vote, and people being subject to punishment at the discretion of extrajudicial people such as plantation owners.
Well, let me put it to you.
that.
Let me put it to you this way. Now, the violence that people speak of all the time on on these places, we weren't there. You weren't there. I wasn't there because that was before our time. But the depiction of Mississippi in the national media to this day is when something happens. There's a white guy in Mississippi shooting a black guy in New York City. When you read a book, and we're the front page of the newspaper of the New York Times today, in case you didn't know about the shootings that occurred last week, which were all black on black crimes. But if you look at what I'm saying from the perspective of what Benny Thompson has done to that entire district, there is nothing but government aid there. Everybody lives off being the slave to Benny, and whether Benny's going to get you money or not. And when you back in the day, when you're talking about beatings and things like that, these people own their biggest investment was into the slaves. I'm not saying it was right. I'm not saying anything like that. I just want you to understand that.
Would you say that it was humane?
No, I'm not saying it was humane. Any part of slavery was not humane, but I will say this: for people to depict a time that, one, they did not live in, okay, And two, if I bought, the economy was run like the tractor. Let's look at a John Deere tractor. A John Deere tractor replaced the worker in the field. Okay. You would not go out and beat up your tractor and expect cotton to be picked up. And that's the same way.
And just to clarify, you don't find it odd at all that you're comparing a human being to a machine?
Well, in reality, they were the machine.
Well, no.
Would you say
in
they
reality,
weren't?
They were human. It's the same reality either way. Humans are humans, whether we're talking before there was video footage, but for someone to take a video of it or not, we know that those were human beings.
Right. We know they're human beings.
And we know that they weren't being treated like humans.
Well,
like they were being treated like property. So we know.
You know that
from
what source do you know that?
From the fact that the law at the time saying what laws they were entitled to, that they were considered 3/5 of a human, that they weren't allowed to leave a plantation without the permission of a master.
Okay. But
that's all stuff that's written down and contemporaneous sources.
Right. I understand.
Is your argument going to extend to anything then that predates any human that's alive now? So for example, the Holocaust, I was not alive during the Holocaust. Are you saying that the Holocaust didn't happen?
No, I'm not saying the Holocaust didn't happen.
Are you saying that for someone who was not born before 9/11, that 9/11 didn't happen just because we weren't alive for that? Because your argument
No, I was
seemed to
9/11.
imply a lot of that.
9/11, I was actually there the day before.
Okay.
I laid down in front of the towers the day before they fell.
So then what would you say to all the people then who had slave narratives that were recorded in the aftermath of slavery, who actually wrote down exactly what happened to them?
Well,
and we can read those documents and know what happened.
No, I'm saying, one, all violence I condemn all violence. Okay. But what I'm saying is you're acting, people act as though when people were being sold into slavery, and look, I'm an American Indian, and we were enslaved by Columbus when he came here and carried back to Spain, in case you didn't know, along with tobacco and everything else that they found on the first trip over. But the reality is people have been enslaved for years, but the job that they were doing was replaced by a machine. And back then, if you had that much money invested into your slaves, you would not have been out there beating them every day. That's all I'm saying.
We know that's wrong because we've read firsthand documentation from that, and we've actually seen photographs of the scars of people who have been beaten.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't see how, and we've also seen how that treatment carried through Reconstruction into Jim Crow, into the Civil Rights Movement. We've actually seen videos.
Jim Crow, of course, is the Civil Rights Movement.
So,
and the Civil Rights Movement was a set of laws that were put together that are about to be outlawed because they shouldn't have ever happened. Civil rights should not have happened. Do you agree? It should have been equal rights. James Meredith marched and went to Ole Miss for the one thing he wanted was equal rights. If you Wikipedia his name right now, he did not get along with the people that brought in civil rights and the people that tried to cash in on his name and what he did. He was trying to get equal rights.
Sorry, just to clarify, you're saying that equal rights, you mean everybody's treated the same regardless of the history, or you're saying equal rights as in everybody should have the same benefit of the law?
Everybody should have the same benefit of the law, and everybody should be treated equally under the law. And
so then let's take, for example, to be specific, we're talking about the Civil Rights Movement. When we look at the Voting Rights Act that was passed, that you said should not have been passed in 1965. So without the Voting Rights Act, we would still have literacy tests and poll taxes. The poll tax, I guess, was also a constitutional amendment. So are you saying that those things should not have been outlawed?
Well, let's put it this way: they should have been.
No. Sorry, before you change, I'm
the evolution. The evolution of time starts to correct laws. Do you agree with that?
No, because we saw from 1877 when Reconstruction ended until 1964, 1965 when the civil rights laws were put into place, that there was almost an entire century in which the laws got progressively more rigid and stringent to restrict people's rights and to continue segregating people because of the backlash of sounds like
Okay,
you
so-
and your grandparents against wanting to have people having equal access to the laws. And
Well-
so you can say everybody, I mean, separate but equal, technically, I think you would argue was a good law because it said the word equal is in it. But we know in reality that separate can never mean equal,
Well, see, I did.
because just the very nature of separating someone means that you are putting someone into an unequal or a different position.
Well, see, I don't agree with separate but equal. I believe in
But the
all
word
things
equals
as
in it,
equal.
so I don't understand how you could say that. I mean, that would seem like you're being inconsistent then, because you just said a moment ago that equal means equal. So if something is separate but equal, why wouldn't that be equal?
Because separate but equal wasn't separate but equal. It wasn't equal. They
Well,
did
then why?
the
well, then why
the
did you-
local
did we
legislate
need-
the people in
How
power.
would that have changed though? How would that have changed without laws to make it that way?
Well, that's what I'm saying. We have evolved.
Well, no. What you just said a moment ago was that the law never should have changed because it would have naturally changed. But now you're saying, in fact,
I didn't
there
say
needed to be a change to that law.
I didn't say it would naturally change. I said over time the things have changed. And it's like, for instance, they're saying now that civil rights, the law that they're looking at right now, it was never meant to stay forever. It had a sunset law in it. And it's what they're trying to
but
say.
that's different than what you were saying a moment ago, which is that it never should have been enacted.
Well,
So my question still goes back to you, and I would like a straight answer from you.
I'm giving
Are
you
you saying that law? Are you saying that law should have never been enacted, or are you saying that law now, 60 years later, has done the role that it needed to have done?
I'm saying that law did some things that it was supposed to do, but it was not. It was created by somebody who was already biased. I mean, when the government put in civil rights laws, they weren't really thinking. They weren't looking at it properly.
And when you say they and the government, who is that? Because
that would be the
believe
Democrats at that time
okay, and you're talking about people like
that had a bias. They were racist in their thought
against whom?
against blacks.
Okay, and you're saying the civil rights movement, or rather the civil rights laws that were passed, were actually laws that were anti-black? You're saying like the Voting Rights Act was an anti-black piece of legislation?
You're twisting that. What I'm saying is
I'm not. I'm trying to understand, because let me tell you something. I was driving home listening to you on the radio, and there was a mixture of confusion. There was a mixture of kind of anger and frustration, because a lot of what you were saying sounded to just be nonsense talking points that don't actually have any substance behind it. And some of it sounded generally dangerous and trying to sort of change the way that history actually happened to make it seem as though it didn't happen that way. So it sounds like what you're doing now by wiggling out of some of the things I'm asking you about.
I'm not trying to wiggle out. Look,
but that's what it comes across as, because you're not actually. I ask you a specific question, you turn and you move somewhere else.
You're not listening to the part of when people made civil rights laws. There were people that helped make those laws who were racist. Racist politicians helped make those laws. So you've got to understand that there's a bias toward both sides, but toward the civil rights law.
What does that have to do though? But what is your point though about that? I guess like what is the you're saying? Yeah, Lyndon Johnson used the N-word. Everybody I can hear that if you listen to the library tapes that he has that are held at his library. But what does that have to do with the fact that the law that he passed did a lot of good for the civil rights movement? I mean, I certainly would not support him using that word. I think it's atrocious and a horrible thing.
But basically, you're in the same law, and you're in the same perspective.
The law.
You're in the same perspectives of every bit of little, in every little bit of good, there's a little bit of evil. There's yin yang. You got that going on.
Okay,
but the reality is, it should have been equal.
To do with the question that I asked you about initially, which is, you are telling me that separate but equal, you are saying was a bad.
Separate but equal was a bad policy. It was a bad policy.
And yet you also said that there was no need for a law to correct that because evolution over time would have fixed that. And so
evolution over time did fix it. Because the politics,
how would that have happened without? How would that have happened without the civil rights movement and without the law being changed?
If it had been equal became the law, not civil rights, but if equal became the law.
Then define that for me. What is if equal became the law? What does that mean?
Okay, back in the how old are you?
No.
I want to know something. I'm fixing to explain something.
Answer me this question. Be plain. Be straight up.
What
does equal under the law mean to you if it does not mean
equal means that
not discriminated against?
Equal means that what I can have, you can have. no matter what color
Okay.
you are.
And so
You
how-
could be a
and so
Martian.
How is that different than what the Voting Rights Act is, and how is that different than what the Civil Rights Movement did?
Because let's say separate but equal wasn't separate but equal. Because let's put it this way:
We're
in
not
the city,
talking about separate but equal anymore. We're talking about what the Civil Rights
make
Movement
up
did
your
with the
mind
Civil
what
Rights
we're
Law.
going to talk about. You're
No, you follow.
okay. I
follow-
want you to stay on hold. I've got to take a commercial break, and I'll be back. Look, I'll debate it with you. I'm good. We'll be back on the Lindsey Beckham show right here on WYAB. Look, I'll debate it with you. I'm good. We'll be back on the Lindsey Beckham show right here on WYAB.
.1039 WYAB.
Friday night lights, family, and a hot Johnny's Pizza House pizza on the table. Now that's our kind of hunt. Make it a sweep the kitchen and bring everyone together. Johnny's Pizza House. Let's share a slice. Here in the South, we keep our football loud and our pizza loaded. Grab a Johnny's Pizza House, sweep the kitchen, and cheer on your hometown team. Johnny's Pizza House. Let's share a slice.
Did you know that the average 6-room house collects 40 pounds of dust each year? Local business Pure Air Consultants duct cleaning service can rid your home of the dust, dirt, and debris that may be caught in your air ducts. They can eliminate the mold, fungi, and microbes that might be growing inside your ductwork and polluting the air you breathe in your home. Mention WYAB and receive a free UV light with system replacement. Visit online at mypureairconsultants.com. mypureairconsultants.com.
Americans for Prosperity is Mississippi's and the country's leading grassroots organization dedicated to promoting economic freedom and personal liberty. Americans for Prosperity advocates for limited government, free market policies, and empowering individuals. When given freedom and opportunity, Americans are capable of extraordinary things. If you are ready to make a difference in our community and want to get involved, then visit americansforprosperity.org. Be a part of positive change at americansforprosperity.org. Paid for by Americans for Prosperity.
Here's John and Corey Ravenstein. She is extraordinary, rare, and one of a kind. Shouldn't her diamond be as well?
At Juniker Jewelry Company, we only offer natural diamonds, genuine creations of nature, formed over 1 billion years ago, not lab-grown imitations.
They're rare, authentic, and one of a kind, just like her.
We are Mississippi's largest direct diamond importer of natural diamonds, every size, shape, and price range.
All at the guaranteed best price in the state.
And flexible financing options for qualified buyers to make it easy.
So giving her a gorgeous natural diamond that will become a true family heirloom from Juniker's, it's more affordable than you think.
Doesn't a one-of-a-kind love deserve a one-of-a-kind natural diamond?
Because she's not synthetic.
She's not a copy.
She's worth the real thing.
Real love, real diamonds, naturally at Juniker's.
Juniker Jewelry Company, Mississippi's direct diamond importer. 1485 Highland Colony Parkway, just south of 463 in Madison, and junikerjewelry.com.
Green's Tire and Auto on Ridgewood Road in Ridgeland can do it all. Is your check engine light on? Take it to Green's. Air not blowing cold anymore? Take it to Green's. Squeaky brakes, bald tires, misaligned front end? Take it to Green's. Green's Tire and Auto can do it all. Your car can operate just like new again when you take it to Green's. Green's Tire and Auto, Ridgewood Road in Ridgeland. Take it to Green's. 601-957-0201. Business owners, tired of drowning in payroll, compliance, and back office headaches? P-Police has your back. P-Police can free you from the never-ending grind of employee administration, such as time and attendance, onboarding, background checks, even business insurance. While you focus on growing your business, P-Police handles the paperwork. Stop stressing and start succeeding. Partner with P-Police, locally based in Ridgeland. Visit ppolice.com and get back to business.
There's never been a better time to buy a new construction home in the city of Brandon at Hyde Park. Take advantage of builder incentives, including seller pay closing costs or rate buydowns that help you lower your payment by hundreds. Prices start at $299,000 at Hyde Park. These beautiful homes offer LVP flooring, gas fireplace, and 2-car garages, all backed by a wonderful builder's warranty. Hey, I'm Brad Burleson with UList Realty, and I'd love to show you around Hyde Park anytime. Give us a look at our website, ulistms.com, or simply Google Hyde Park Brandon.
Come together right
It is the Lindsey Beckham Show. I am Chip Matthews filling in today. I said my name on the phone. Who is this? What am I going to call you? What's your name?
Robert.
Robert. Okay, Robert. So where are you from?
From Mississippi. I live in Jackson.
Oh, you live in Jackson. Okay. I guess you'll be at the No King celebration tomorrow downtown?
No, I won't be.
Okay, just checking. But anyway, we're back to where we were. Basically, I'm being painted as a racist, and we'll go from there. And
well, to be clear, I actually never said that.
I didn't say you did.
Well, you said I'm painting you that way, and so generally that would make me think that you're saying I'm associating you or labeling you something, which I'm not. I'm actually, if I had to label you, I would label you as just being unclear and meandering.
Okay, well, let me explain something to you about separate but equal. And you keep cutting me off on this. But separate but equal did not work. I mean, if you're going to give me a statement, I'm going to need a because. So you can't just give me. I'm going to give you a because.
Justification.
I'm going to give you a because. Okay, let's take for instance a water fountain. The white water fountain was cool, was refrigerated. The black water fountain was just water. That's not equal. It's two water fountains by each other. In Canton, Mississippi, Canton High School, which was all white, and the other school was called Rogers High School, was all black. They did not have the same things at both schools equally.
Right. And so you and I both agree on that.
Right.
Yes.
So separate but equal was never separate but equal. So civil rights.
My question was, what would have, if not for the civil rights movement, what would have stopped or ended separate but equal?
No, civil rights. What James Meredith was fighting for was equal.
So you're not answering my question.
Well, what I'm saying
that I was having with you before.
Well, see, that's what I'm saying is civil rights laws were created to just make people think that they had done something. Okay.
Well, wait. Let me ask you a question.
Okay.
Did the civil rights currently, or not even currently, let's say in 1969,
the results,
which was the year after the schools finally integrated, since 1969, have there been instances of separate water fountains, separate schools, separate church, or separate everything? I mean, for that matter.
No,
because separate, right.
Because
but
what occurred?
Why is that?
Why did that occur? Because what happened were the whites of the communities, the parents of the kids, pulled out. They gave up. And that's what conservatives do sometimes, is we give up on the fight and we backed up. It's like the city of Jackson would be a better place if everybody didn't say you had white flight. Well, you had it because people didn't want to be around
Okay, I think there's a disconnect here. I'm sorry, because again, the question I was asking you was, if not for the 1964 and 65 civil rights laws and constitutional amendment outlawing the poll tax, what would have in other words,
the things you're talking.
How did things change so quickly if not for those laws?
They didn't change that quickly. It's taken 60 years. 80
right
years.
Off the bat, I can tell you that the schools got integrated immediately. I know that sounds like maybe some of y'all's families and some of the white people around here have created segregation academies and continue to segregate even after that using private schools and stuff like that.
Correct.
But I'm saying that by the letter of the law, that stuff was no longer permitted.
But
when I say the letter of the law, I'm saying specifically the civil rights laws, which actually had importance and worked and were needed. Otherwise, you would have not stopped doing what you were doing.
One, what we did was what our parents told us to. Okay, that's number one. But hold on just a second. Let me finish. Let me finish.
That doesn't saying I'm racist because my parents are racist. That doesn't mean that
I didn't say
racist.
I was racist, but my parents were not racist. We owned businesses that catered to the black community.
That doesn't mean anything. You could have been
not to you. Not to you. It doesn't mean anything. It means a lot to me that we took care of both races. We did not live that way. You don't paint me in a corner to call me and my family a different thing when we opened up grocery.
You just said a minute ago that you learned how to be the person you are from your parents, and so you would have continued to do the same things that your parents had done, that their parents had done.
No, that's what you're saying. My parents didn't do that.
You just said that a minute ago. If you play back the tape, you could hear
I don't have a tape.
Your voice.
But let me tell you this. This country had it passed a different set of laws instead of
And what would those laws have been?
I don't know. I wasn't here. I was a child when I'm saying the laws should have been different.
But you're an adult
Why can't you?
now, so
Why
you should be able to tell me.
you
can't
should
just
be?
say
If you
what-
will be
can't
quiet,
just
I
say
will
what-
tell you. I will tell
Let's
you.
hear it.
Why don't you just
Let's
not
hear it.
upset me and hear my thought?
I'm ready
Okay.
for it.
Because I could even just turn you down and just say it, but I'm not running from you. I'm right here trying to explain to you that equal rights that James Meredith was asking for would have been a different set of rules than civil rights. Equal rights gave blacks let's say, for instance, as I got in the 70s when I needed to get my first loan at the bank, I couldn't get the loan at the bank because they had to give DEI type laws. You basically could call them back then. They would have given a black much more money than I. When I got ready to go to college, I didn't qualify because I was white and my mama made too much money. But the blacks all could go to college and I couldn't. So you can't say that equal is what occurred with civil rights. It unbalanced the situation. And you're saying that because in my lifetime, as I was growing up, that I was put in the back seat of everything, just like the blacks were put in already. But James Meredith didn't ask us to go back. He asked us, let's just start being equal. And that's what I'm saying is the laws should have been, you're saying that the results of it, I'm saying the results of civil rights, it killed the black business community completely. They burned their own neighborhoods down during some of this stuff. But the reality is equal rights is a law that just never occurred until that's what the Supreme Court's looking at now is what is equal rights and how do you enforce equal rights where all things are equal? Do you follow that?
Oh, I followed it. I wanted to be respectful and let you finish. I was
Okay.
going to address your points one by one.
Go ahead. I'm sure you're
that's all right.
taking notes. Thank you. Go ahead.
So I would, I guess, first start off by saying that, well, you made a lot of still, even though you said you were going to use the words because, you still didn't. And so when you say that, for example, the claim that you said of black people burning down their businesses and the civil rights movement being the reason for that, that you surely know that's not the reason.
No, I
If you
didn't
were to
say.
look at a place like in Los Angeles or in Detroit or in Watts or in San Francisco or Chicago or other places where there were, large scale uprisings that resulted in the burning and looting of businesses, that was not the result of the civil rights movement. That was the result of oftentimes some sort of a police brutality moment or some other sort of white instigated hate crime. So that's not the result of the civil rights movement.
And
But
that's
separate from
occurring
that-
to this day. They still burn
But
down their
separate-
cities.
separate-
Black, that's Democrats.
separate
I
from
guess
that.
you're a Democrat.
Separate from that, though, I will go ahead and just address your point head on about the idea that somehow the civil rights movement created reverse discrimination, reverse racism, which is what it sounds like you're trying to label that as.
Well, it was.
And that's not accurate. I think what it did was it ended up putting people on an equal footing. And so because there were more people who were applying for those student loans, or because there were more people who were now able to get home loans, because right off the bat, black people were not excluded, which is what banks had been doing for centuries and what universities had been doing for centuries, then absolutely, that means that some white people who previously were getting included and were getting accepted were not, because the standards changed, because there was a wider pool of people from whom they were selecting.
And the
That's
government
not
offered
racist
aid.
against white people.
Yes, it is.
Well, no, let me ask you this question. So are you saying then that because let's look at farmers, for example.
Okay.
Farmers get some very specific subsidies from the government because they are farmers.
Correct.
Are you saying that that's prejudice against shop owners, or that's prejudice against pharmacy owners, or that's prejudice against attorneys or other professionals or doctors because they're the ones that get special subsidies?
Everybody gets special subsidies.
No, that's not true.
Yes, it is true.
Answer my question straight on,
I
sir.
just
I just asked you a
well,
question.
if I respond to your question, that is the answer. I said,
then you
yes,
might not have
everybody
understood my
gets
question.
everybody gets what they want.
Give me an example of the same the degree. So in agriculture, there are some years that the government will pay farmers to not grow a crop.
Right.
Have you ever heard of the government paying a doctor to not see a patient, or paying a pharmacist to not fill a script?
I would say that it possibly happens. I can't prove
Okay,
that.
now you're come on, man.
And I'm not. No, what do you
this is
mean?
not-
What do you mean?
You're just
You got
skirting around the issue. Bottom line, if you want to have a fair conversation about this, you're going to need to give up some ground. Otherwise, you're just going to get into the absurd, which is where you're going.
Well, I mean, I think you're absurd. I would love for you to come in and be on the show with that.
Where you're saying I'm this and you are that, and you're just regurgitating what I say to you. Come on.
That's what everybody else does.
That doesn't mean that it's right or that it's good.
So now you're going to tell me how to run radio station. Not that you're great. You're great.
Bottom line
is what?
Because there are some people who all of a sudden were able to apply to and get scholarships, apply to and get home loans, that widened the base from which banks and universities were accepting and giving loans and scholarships and grants to, which meant that, yeah, you're absolutely right. The standards shifted. Some mediocre or sub-mediocre white people were no longer making the cut to get the same kind of support they've been getting in the past. And that's okay, because there was a wider pool of people. As America, we should be granting like you said, everybody should be getting equal access to the loans. Right. And that's exactly what they did.
No, they didn't do that. They didn't do that.
Hang on. Wait 1 second, because I was going somewhere, and I think
okay. Get there.
Where you were. Right? So let's look at affirmative action specifically. The way that it worked is not a simple, are you black? Check this box. Boom, you're in. The way that it worked was, are you black? Yes. You get 1 point, for example. That's the same point that you might get if your family was a legacy. And guess what? If your grandparents were not allowed to go to a university for generations, there's no way you could have gotten that point. And so it's almost like are you a legacy? Here's a point is essentially the same sort of a thing as, are you white? Here's a point. And I know you might come back and say, well, wait, what about the poor white person whose parents never went to college and they were going to be first generation going to college? Well, guess what? There was a separate point box for that first generation poor white person whose parents never went to college. So all affirmative action did was it expanded the pool of which people got credit for their lived experiences. It was not an automatic, this black person gets in, this white person does not. Rather, what it did was it meant that, we're going to take into account everybody's full lived experiences and give people the same amount of credit for their lived experience as being a first generation college student or the child of a black person as a wealthy white person who came from 5 generations who have all attended the University of Mississippi.
Okay, well,
that's how affirmative action works.
Well, let's also look at it this way. Right, currently, and I'm going to have to I got to get 2 breaks in pretty quick here, so I'm going to get kind of screwed on this. And I don't want, and the show's only an hour, and I only got like 12 minutes left. But here's what I'm saying. When you get an application to this day, the only thing it should say on there is, are you an American? Are you other? And that's it. That's equal. And all it should be there is your name. It shouldn't be you get a point for this and a point for that and a point for this and a point for that. If everybody would simplify the paperwork to equal, means when I see your name on the bank, you take every name. If it says Bob, Jim, whatever, that's equal.
Okay. So then just to make sure we're on the same page. So are you agreeing then that a legacy student should not get extra points added to their application to get accepted to the University of Mississippi?
I agree with that.
Okay. It looks like we found some common ground.
Okay.
But let me tell you something where we might not see eye to eye. It's not fair, and I don't think it's legal either for the U.S. Supreme Court to say the only thing that we can take off of that application is giving people credit for being black, but we can still give people credit for being a lacrosse player, for having a grandparent that went here, for having a parent that gave $500,000 so that we could build a new library. All of that stuff seems to be, again, benefiting one group of people over a different group of people and completely discrediting another person.
It's completely wrong to allow anybody to weight the system for if you're the most qualified person to go to school, like your grades say you're that guy, you should be that guy, whether you're black, white, or Martian.
Or whether your parents gave $500,000.
No, it doesn't have anything. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Great grandparents went to the university.
I'm saying, I know a lot of people whose great parents went to school and have tons of money. And you know what? Their kids turned out to be worthless. Don't have $1 in the bank, ruined the entire thing. And they went to school and flunked out of school and this, that, and the other. Yeah, I know 90% of the people, it seems, do not transfer wealth well. We agree with that. The only thing is the strength of your character. When you put your name on a piece of paper, there should be nothing else but it's about you. And then you should not have to worry about I'm not black enough, I'm not white enough, I'm not this. That should not be on there. How much money I got in the bank, how much money I don't have in the bank. Everybody should be equal. And that's that. That's all I'm saying. Okay. And I'd love to have you come on the show one day and you can come in here and sit down with me and we'll go through this and talk about all these things. I would love it.
I would be happy to do that.
Because my door is open to anybody. I tell Benny Thompson and I send him messages every week saying, please come in and sit down and talk to me because I would like it. And I talk with anybody.
If I might be able to share with you a tip, I don't think comparing Benny Thompson to a plantation owner and saying that he is enslaving the people of the second district is probably, or the first district, whatever it is a good ticket to get him on the air, because that does come across as a little inappropriate and not very becoming of the way that you would treat an elected official.
I would treat him with respect if he came here, period. If he would take my phone call. If whites, when they went to Washington, were allowed to walk into his office,
well, let me tell you that they actually are, because guess what? Guess who is white? I am. And guess who's been to his office in Washington? I have. So right off the bat, I can tell you that that is just not a true statement. And it is concerning, though, to hear you making those kind of assertions, because whereas I know that you might be not making an absolute rule or saying this somewhat facetiously, there are a lot of people who are listening to you who might actually believe every single thing that you're saying, and that's dangerous.
Oh, I agree with that. It's just like when people are saying in the school choice thing. See, I'm against school choice, which is and what these Republicans are out saying is it's Trump or Southern Poverty Law Center. Well, that's not fair to me because I'm not looking at it that way. You know,
what do you? I don't know what you mean by that. Trump or Southern Poverty? What does that mean?
No, that's what Russ Latino put out was Trump versus Southern Poverty Law Center, to tell whites that they're trying to tell Republicans that they need to be Trump's side and be for school choice rather than against school choice. I'm against school choice, but that aligns me with a group of people that I don't care to be a part of, but I got to do it anyway. Because I'm going to stand on what I have to say and my beliefs, and fair is fair, and that's all I'm going for. I got to take these votes, man.
Oh wait, real quick though, one last thing before I do that, I did just want to mention this. You had mentioned earlier the idea that perhaps Benny Thompson his policies created the situation that is the Delta and the western side of the state. I do just want to remind you that those places existed for centuries before he got into office, and they were poor before he got into office. And actually, the reason that they were so poor and that those areas were so oppressed was because of slavery and Jim Crow and the mistreatment of Black people at the hands of white, wealthy plantation owners.
And then,
that happened. Benny Thompson, I don't think, was elected until 1993 or 1994. Yeah. And if you were to look at the income demographics of the Delta and of that region for the preceding 150 years, it was significantly worse than what it is now. Again, because that was the part of the state where the largest agriculture was, which in Mississippi history meant the largest amount of enslavement.
I got to take a break, man. I'm sorry.
Sure.
Okay.
No
call me and be on. You can be on any time. Okay. Thank you.
financing for 36 months on a new 2025 Mazda CX-5. Or get 2.9% financing for 63 months on the 2025 CX-90. 1-year maintenance is included on your new vehicle purchase. And take advantage of the pre-tariff inventory that's almost gone. Shop online at MazdaofJackson.com or visit Mazda of Jackson, I-55 Frontage Road in Jackson.
Hello, this is Kamisha Mumford. As a proud graduate of Mississippi State University and Mississippi College School of Law, as an attorney and a judge, I understand that working across the aisle is better than divisive rhetoric. I'm running to improve public safety, to protect our public retirement system, and to improve our aging infrastructure. On Tuesday, November 4th, vote Kamisha Mumford for Senate District 26.
Paid for by friends of Kamisha Mumford.
Are you a wine enthusiast? Are you looking for the perfect bottle to elevate your next dinner? The ultimate destination for wine lovers is 042 Wine and Spirits on West Government Street in Brandon. They're locally owned, they're locally operated. 042 Wine offers something for everyone, from local favorites to rare vintage wines. 042 Wine and Spirits can help you find your next favorite wine. The friendly and knowledgeable folks at 042 Wine and Spirits will help you find the perfect bottle for every occasion. 042 Wine and Spirits, located on West Government Street in Brandon.
The mowing season is full on here in Mississippi. I'm David Frederick, owner of Frederick Sales and Service in Brandon. The industry-changing Exmark Laser Z commercial mower turns 30 years old this year and has been redesigned with even more great features you just have to see. We have a sale going on with instant rebates, and 0% financing is available too. Stop by our store and let our award-winning staff show you the Exmark difference. Fredericks and Exmark, over 3 decades serving you in Brandon since 1993.
Your roof is constantly exposed to the elements, battling dirt, algae, and stains. But with Watkins Construction and Roofing Roof Wash Service, you can keep it looking like new. A proprietary rooficide treatment is EPA approved, safe, and guaranteed to prevent algae from coming back for at least 2 years. No harsh chemicals, no damage, no black streaks. Just a clean, beautiful roof that lasts. Call Watkins Construction and Roofing at 601-966-8233 or visit nomoreroofstains.com today.
Come together right now.
1039 WYA. Health has always been reactive, focused on fixing problems as they happen. But with Blue Primary Care, we're taking a proactive approach, working with you to help you understand your health and empowering you to be healthy. It's time to prioritize you, your health, and your life. The results? Less worrying and more living. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Mississippi. It's good to be blue.
Y'all come see us at Flora Animal Hospital, your trusted hometown vet. We offer a wide variety of veterinary services, including boarding. Dr. Kaylee McCary is a Madison County native who has been serving the Flora community and surrounding areas since 2013. She leads our team of highly trained and compassionate women. We are located at 740 Highway 49 in the Cotton Exchange Plaza. Call us today at 601-879-3222. At Flora Animal Hospital, we treat your pets like our own.
Here at Lake and Glass and Tint, we've become well known for 2 things: window tint and windshields. Now, when it comes to window tint, you already know that we're the go-to for home, car, and office. And as always, we offer free consultations. So if you're in the need of window tint or windshields, give us a call, 601-946-1000. Check us out on Facebook or Instagram or at lakeandglassandtint.com. Lake and Glass and Tint, where quality matters.
Did you know that the average 6-room house collects 40 pounds of dust each year? Local business Pure Air Consultants Duct Cleaning Service can rid your home of the dust, dirt, and debris that may be caught in your air ducts. They can eliminate the mold, fungi, and microbes that might be growing inside your ductwork and polluting the air you breathe in your home. Mention WYAB and receive a free UV light with system replacement. Visit online at mypureairconsultants.com. mypureairconsultants.com.
Craving something extraordinary in Jackson? Manship Restaurant is where your taste buds hit the jackpot. Join us for happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. where your wallet will thank you and your stomach will sing. Indulge in half-price wood-fired pizzas, because why pay full price for half the fun? And for just $5, dive into our private barrel bourbon picks. That's right, luxury on a budget. Plus, beat the heat with our frozen drink specials, a tropical escape without the travel expenses. Make your way to the Manship, where happy hour isn't just a time, it's an experience.
Ladies, tired of running on empty, sleepless nights, mood swings, stubborn weight, skin that has lost its glow? It is not just getting older. It is your body begging for help. Hey, y'all, I'm Morgan at Women's Wellness in Mississippi. At Women's Wellness in Mississippi, we bring it all together. Hormone therapy, medical weight loss, and the latest, greatest aesthetic treatments like facials, lasers, Botox, and so much more. This is where wellness and beauty meet so that you can feel amazing inside and out. At Women's Wellness in Mississippi, the best version of you is waiting right around the corner.
Pops Auto Sales on Highway 49 in Florence is where you come to buy quality cars, trucks, and SUVs. Priced to fit your budget. At Pops Auto, we specialize in trucks. From four-wheel drive to diesels, our satisfied repeat buyers know Pops has one of the largest truck inventories for any independent dealer, period. Browse Pops inventory at popsautosalesllc.com and get pre-approved for a zero down payment with approved credit. With warranties and service contracts available. Pops Auto Sales, your home for trucks. Highway 49 South in Florence.
Tri-County Tree Service, the Jackson Metro's premier company to handle all of your tree service needs. Russ Borland and his team specialize in large tree, low-impact removal. Tri-County Tree Service has the right equipment to safely handle the most technical trim jobs or tree removals. Storm damage can happen year-round, so let them clean it up and they'll deal with your insurance claim. Tri-County Tree Service, by phone at 601-TREE-GUY or online at tricotreeservice.com. That's tricotreeservice.com.
Come together right now.
This is Central
All the
Mississippi Stimulating Talk.
1039 WYAB, Pocahontas, Jackson.
30 to 60 days that are not even being touched for 12 to 16 months. And then they scream at me and they call me names.
She's urging people to try again after the shutdown. A new report warns